Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how AgilePoint NX can integrate with Logic Apps. In one of my other video, I showed how AgilePoint NX can work with Microsoft Flow, and Microsoft Flow is not very different from Logic Apps. In fact, actually Microsoft Flow is built on top of Logic Apps. However, the difference between the two is Logic Apps was created keeping more of business critical applications in mind, and it's more of a developer platform since it's accessible through Windows Azure, whereas Microsoft Flow is more of a business user productivity tool for more of a self-service kind of processes. For my demonstration today, I'm going to use OneDrive as an example where when a document gets uploaded to OneDrive, I have a folder over here. When it gets uploaded to OneDrive, it kicks off a Logic App workflow. Logic App is continuously monitoring this OneDrive folder, and that in turn kicks off an AgilePoint workflow where it passes in the relevant file information to AgilePoint, and then AgilePoint workflow gets the file information from OneDrive, like additional information like URL, shared links, etc., and assigns the task to the author of the document, the person who uploaded the file to OneDrive, to provide some additional metadata like whether this is a one-time document or does it have to go through a periodic review cycle. Then he submits it for approval to his manager, and once the manager approves it, if it is marked for archival, it moves into the archive folder, or if it is marked for periodic review, then it gets moved into a published folder, and when it is due for review, it gets moved into the root folder and a task gets assigned to the author again. Now, the reason all this is possible is because of AgilePoint API being Swagger enabled. So I'm going to use that. So before I switch to that, I'm going to show you how to get to the AgilePoint's Swagger UIs. You can go to settings, tenant settings, and over here you will find a URL called Swagger URL. If you switch to the window over here, you can see I type that URL and it shows me the entire list of AgilePoint APIs being available in Swagger UI. So you can drill down into one of these. Say, for example, if you wanted to create a process instance with minimum parameters, you can see in what headers are to be passed and what is the object to be passed. Now next we are going to switch to Azure Logic Apps Designer in our Windows Azure portal. So I have this Logic app over here and it shows me some of the available templates which I can start with. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a blank Logic app template. And it shows me a whole list of triggers which are available. At this point of time, there are 170 triggers available, so I can kick off workflows for things like when a new document is uploaded to Box, or a digital signature happens in DocuSign, or maybe a document gets uploaded to Dropbox. But for the demo, as I said, I'm going to use OneDrive. So I'm going to scroll down. And in the OneDrive section, I'm going to select this trigger, OneDrive, when a file is created. So once I select that, it asks me, okay, which folder in OneDrive do you want to monitor? So I'm going to say I want to monitor the root folder. And what's the monitoring frequency? So I'll say check for a new document every 1 minute. And next I'm going to add the next action. Now this is where there is a little bit of a difference between Microsoft Flow and Logic Apps, the way it connects to AgilePoint. In this case, I'm going to use the HTTP activity. And I'm going to select HTTP plus Swagger. And it asks me for Swagger endpoint URL, which is the path all the way up to the JSON file. I'm going to switch to my other window and copy it from here. You can copy the value from here, go back to this browser window, paste it, click next. It lists down all the available methods. The method we are interested in is create process instance with minimum parameters. Next, I'm going to just fill up all the required parameters. So I'm going to say here is the name of a process model. For process instance name, I'm going to select something unique. So name of the process model and append with a function which gives me the current date time. And then I can pass in some initial parameters. The way to do this is, remember, I want the file ID to be passed to AgilePoint. So I'm going to go over here in my process model, go to form data, click on it, and under model data, I have a field which I created called file ID. So I'm going to copy the XPath for that, paste it over here. Now, because I'm only interested in XPath, I'm going to remove the dollar and curly braces. And in the value, it shows me these are the different parameters which are available from OneDrive and Logic Apps. So I'm going to say pass in whatever is the file identifier. Next, because I'm making an HTTP call, I can pass in some headers. These headers are optional, so I'm going to leave them blank. But I certainly want to pass the authentication information over here. So authentication information, as it says, enter it in a JSON format. So I'm going to copy this over. So here is my JSON object. So as you can see, it says type equal to basic authentication, then your username and the corresponding password. Now, once the password has been entered, just go ahead and click save. It says Logic App has been saved, and then click run. Now this makes my Logic App active. I'm going to switch back to OneDrive and upload another document over here. And if I switch back to my Logic App Studio, you can see that pretty soon there would be a workflow which gets kicked off. So you see that there has been a workflow which got kicked off, and it was successful as well. And here is the return process instance ID. Now, if I switch back to my AgilePoint NX task list, you would see that there is a new task which got assigned to me to review the process. So I'm going to open this process viewer in a full window. So you can see that right now the task, it went in, got additional file information, and a task is sitting with me, who is the document author. I'm going to open this task, and I can see the link. As you can see at the bottom, there is a link. I can click on it to open the document as well. It shows me the document. I can set in the review frequency. I can put in some comments. And I can say whether to archive this document or not. To keep it simple, I'm going to just say archive this document. And you can see it's available sitting on the document approval sheet. For the sake of demo, I made myself the document approver as well, so that I don't have to log in and log out. So I'm going to open that task, and I'm going to say, yes, it is approved. So as you can see, it went through the whole workflow logic. So if I now go back to my OneDrive and refresh it, and go to the archive folder, you can see that the signed document got archived as well. So using Logic Apps, I can create a whole lot of applications which get triggered based on actions which are performed in some of the external systems which are available as triggers in Logic App. Thanks a lot for your time.